install and use the GetResponse for WordPress plugin by going into your WordPress panel, and then you'll see the area for plugins. And so you'll select that option here, and then you'll do a search for GetResponse, and you'll be able to see this is the one that you'll need to choose, GetResponse for WordPress. And you can see it's got lots of helpful information about the description of the plugin, all of the features it includes, installation suggestions as well, the FAQ, things like that. And so this is where you'll be able to add the GetResponse for WordPress plugin for the first time, or if you actually already have a version of the plugin, you want to make sure it is the latest version that you have installed, because we're always adding really cool updates and features to it. And so you'll be able to always make sure that you have the latest version installed as well if you already have an existing version. So my account already has the plugin installed in the latest version. And so if you don't yet, you just need to go through the installation instructions here, and they're super simple to follow and get it installed into your panel. And now we're going to actually take a look at what it looks like once you do already have it installed. And so that's going to be added here. So you can see the plugin is now added. This is what it looks like once you've successfully added the plugin. And then what you need to do first is actually configure and connect the appropriate GetResponse account within this plugin. And so what you would need to do is get the API key. And so I can show you what that part will look like from scratch. So I can disconnect this current account version. It'll stop all of the things I've already set up, so we can do that together and set it back up. And so what you'll need to do inside of your GetResponse account is go to Integrations and API and get your API key and connect it here. And then you can just simply click Connect. And then you can see we've got all of these really cool options that we'll be able to use really important parts of GetResponse within your WordPress account and your WordPress site, of course. And a really big part of that would be adding contacts from your website, because I can show you our quick example. And here's the example of my WordPress shop. It's an example e-commerce chocolate shop, candy shop, and so this is kind of the WordPress that we're working on. We've got, you can see a form that people can join to sign up our newsletter. People can, make purchases from us as well. So we've got an e-commerce element within our shop, and as well we have a blog that we have another form for, with like a lead magnet download as well. And a pop-up. You can see I've got lots of forms going, particularly to highlight all of the features that you can use within the GetResponse WordPress plugin. So you definitely don't have to use all forms, or of course you can, but you can just see a cool example of all the different forms and list building tools that I have added within this site. And so that's going to be a big part of this adding contacts panel. So you can see that it's connected. It's taken the data from my GetResponse account and added it here. And so now we have the options for adding contacts. So it can be a form widget. You can see you'd be able to add simply a widget within your site if you want it to include, the sidebar, footer, or header. You can also add contacts via forms in a blog post. So directly within the post on your blog, you'd be able to have a form. And also adding contacts from comments. So if you want people to be able to sign up for your list from leaving contacts, you can simply enable it, choose which list they should be added to, so opt-in text, you'll be able to configure that. And as well, if they register, at your website, if you have some kind of like registration set up, whenever people, if they can, for example, create accounts within your website, this would be another method that you would need to enable, specify which list they should be added to, things like that. And so this is, kind of where you'll decide exactly what you're going to be using. If you want people to be added from comments or registrations they can create, or adding a form widget to your actual website, that's where you'd be able to do that. And that's kind of like an example of what we've got here as well, is right there in the middle. Now, moving right along through the tabs is a really big part. Of course, I'm an e-commerce shop, so this Woocommerce integration, because my chocolate shop is run on Woocommerce. And so these are some pretty big parts that I'm really wanting to implement inside of my GetResponse account. So the way it's going to work first is this first option is called Export Customer Data. And so the way this works is going to be that, let's say my shop's been up for a while. I've got a few customers, I've got some sales data already in my WooCommerce shop, but I'm just now connecting my GetResponse account, to my WooCommerce shop. And so I can actually export this existing customer data that I have in WooCommerce to my GetResponse account. So I need to choose which list I want to kind of export the data to. Let's say it's going to be this list I have set up already. And then this is important. I want to include e-commerce data in this export. And so this means that I'll be, adding those existing customers that I have in my shop, and also then adding their e-commerce data, their purchase history, brands, how much they've purchased, things like that. And I need to choose a store. And so what you'll do, if this is your first time doing this, you'll need to create, as you can see here, I scrolled down here, a store. So it's basically got a description, create a GetResponse store where the e-commerce data is sent. This is where you'll be able to see the data about your customers and GetResponse through marketing automation, searching through the data of your contacts within GetResponse. So if you haven't created what's called a store yet, you need to do that now. You just click Add New, and you could create a store. But I already have quite a few test stores. You can see my Chocolate Monster store is what I'll be using. And so this is where, after I've created that, I need to send the data to this store. And you can see you've got some additional information like performance optimization. That's going to be totally up to you if you want to implement that. If you want to overwrite existing contact details, if those people are already on your list, you can choose that as well. So you just click Export, and it's going to go ahead and do that for you. So it's kind of running the export now and sending the data over to GetResponse. And while it's doing that, I can proceed further. Additionally, you have, customer data exported, so I can move on. So additionally, you have the option to add contacts at checkout. So you can add your WooCommerce customers once they actually are completing their purchases. So I need to choose this to be enabled. I want them to be added to the customers list. And then there's going to be opt-in text, sign up to get the latest updates from our shop is what it would say when they check out. You can enable it, the check mark by default. I'm going to leave that off. And again, the option to update contact information. And now additionally, what you're going to want to do, so it's just kind of like setting this up, just go all the way through your options, is to send e-commerce data. So this is handy. They're going to be added to the list when they check out if they are if they're choosing to sign up for your marketing materials. But also you can start sending e-commerce data from your online store, kind of like that export we just did, but then this would be happening automatically. You don't have to do that manual export. That was just for people who are already on the list, or who are already in your WooCommerce account as customers before you've actually connected your GetResponse account and turned this option on. So you want to make it enabled, choose which store it's associated with like we did earlier, the list that we want it associated with, and again, the option for performance optimization. So that's again something you can look into if you need that. So we'll choose Save Changes. So that is, really good work. Our, WooCommerce settings are saved, and that's kind of would come into play. For example, let's say that I want to purchase these gummies, and I'm going to my cart. Oh, I've got lots of good things to buy. And this is what it looks like. Sign up to get the latest updates from our shop. So when someone's purchasing, including all of their information, their email address, they can sign up to receive our marketing information as well and be added to our list. And so moving back through is the option for web event tracking. So this is a really great tool to be able to track some customer activity on your website, to be able to know if customers are visiting certain pages of your site, if they're maybe abandoning the cart, not making those purchases. For example, I've got all of this stuff in my cart, and if I didn't complete this purchase, I could be reminded of that automatically. And be able to actually see if I visited an interesting page, but then didn't go to the next page after that. Let's say I viewed the special promo page that was set up, but then I didn't actually, go to the purchase page. I could actually, remind someone about that as well. Or send someone a specific offer because they viewed our cupcakes page, for example. So all you need to do is just check this box and click Save Changes, and then we will be able to track customer activity on your website. But of course, you need to just remember that these people would have to be already on your GetResponse list, because we have to have a way to actually be able to, connect these people and be able to send them messages. They have to already be on your GetResponse account. So this would be tracking customer activity of those customers who are on your GetResponse list in your GetResponse account, and then the activity that they're making all along your site and the sites they're visiting. And then our next and final tab is landing pages. So this is where you can actually publish GetResponse landing pages on your WordPress site. So this is really cool. You do not have to code or alter your theme to be able to add a page to your site, because if you've got GetResponse landing pages, you'll see I've got quite a lot of them, but you'd be able to actually, for example, create maybe a holiday offer, a guide, something like that, and be able to automatically have this be within your WordPress domain from within your WordPress account. So what you would do is just set up your page, create your landing page in GetResponse, and save it. Maybe it would be to promote a webinar and you want that to be on your WordPress site, or some other kind of lead magnet, just any type of page that you would like to be able to set up. You would just create it in GetResponse, and then just choose Add Page, and you just need to select a landing page. Let's pretend it's this kind of new download lead magnet that I'm working on and going to be promoting on my site. You can see that the URL you can configure. So this is my domain, and then I can add it, and then whether it's published, click Save, and you can see now this is a part of my WordPress site domain and a page that I can disable, enable, whatever I need to do. So now this landing page that I created in GetResponse is now part of my WordPress site domain. So it's a really cool way to continue building your list and also easily add pages to your WordPress site that you create in GetResponse, which is really cool. Run the A/B tests, all of the features that you actually have within landing pages. You'll be able to do that within WordPress because they're GetResponse landing pages. And I only want to show you just a couple quick things, because that is everything for actually how to set up the GetResponse for WordPress plugin. And then in particular, I just want to call your attention to a couple of areas, because in particular for this Woocommerce integration, where we're sending this e-commerce data, I want to just show you where you're going to see that. And so where you would see that is, let's say, for example, for contacts, search. We could do advanced search, and then if you add a condition, you'll now see that you've connected your e-commerce store to GetResponse and are sending e-commerce data. You're going to have this additional search term called e-commerce. And then here are all those shops that I was talking about earlier. So the new Chocolate Monster shop, for example, is the one I was sending that e-commerce data. And you can search for now, contacts, customers on your GetResponse list based on this e-commerce data, how many times they've purchased, how much money they've spent with you, a particular product or brand that they purchased. So this is where you're going to be able to see, for example, some, of this data. Oh, and then it hasn't been sent over yet. I haven't had a time to process from when I first did that. But this is where you're going to be able to see e-commerce data for this. And I think I actually have another, let's say greater than or equal to 1, let's say, for all shops. I have quite a lot of shops. And so this is going to bring up all of the customers who have purchased from me, who have purchased, at least once from my shops, or let's say, greater than 5. I probably don't have that many. Okay, 4. Abby Cookies is my big buyer with 4 purchases. But this is where you could kind of optimize and actually create some really cool segments, some custom filters for important data sets that you have for your e-commerce data, but whether that's based on how much people have spent from you, everyone who has spent, let's say, is greater than or equal to $100. You could go ahead and save that as a custom field. I don't have any such things. My products are quite, cheap, but I can say, 100, offer. And so I could create, a saved search. So whenever someone spends at least $100 with me, they're automatically saved as a custom filter. And then I could send that group of contacts automatically some, special offer, some kind of special deal. So definitely recommend taking a look at all of the different search conditions that you have for, products purchased, total spent, and create some really interesting custom filters. And then one other big place that you're going to find, e-commerce data helpful was within marketing automation. And you're going to see that there are some workflows already created, pre-built for you that would help you be able to automate, really important aspects of your e-commerce shop, like abandoned cart reminders. For example, I haven't yet purchased all of these, cupcakes and candy bars. And so if I want to actually, automatically remind someone about this, I could simply set up a very simple workflow like this, that once someone abandons the cart for 1 hour, automatically send them a message that reminds them to complete the purchase with all of these details that they have here. And you'll be able to see that really quickly in automation messages. If you go to create a draft, so abandoned cart, you would just first want to set up this message and then go into that workflow and apply it. So let's just pretend really quickly. I'm just going to pick one for the sake of time. It's not the best example for the abandoned cart, but I'm just want to do it quickly because you'll see right here there's an e-commerce section. And then what you would do is drag over the abandoned cart. It says you forgot something. Here, I can delete this stuff so it doesn't distract us too much. And then what you do is, edit it so it, says what you want it to say. So the buttons have the right look. This is just kind of default text for you to have. And so whenever someone actually abandons their cart, automatically the cart contents will be included in the message. And so this is just, showing 2 as an example, but it will list all of the items that were left in the cart. So in this case, it would be 4. So if you, configure that so it looks good for you, and then you go back to your workflows and create that. I just want to show you this. I know we're jumping around a lot, but I want to make sure you know where everything is. So in our abandoned cart reminder, we just need to say for API, then it finds our e-commerce store. So let's say our new chocolate monster shop, when they, abandon the cart for 2 hours, I want to send this message, this abandoned cart message I just created. So we choose save and publish, and now automatically when someone abandons our cart, because we have our Woocommerce all selected to send the e-commerce data, but also what's important for this one is the web event tracking. You need to make sure that this is enabled, so we'll be able to know if one of the customers, remember they have to be on your list to be able to get this abandoned cart email, because we have to have their email address to be able to send them the email, the abandoned cart reminder. But that's going to be an example here as well for using your e-commerce data strategically. And as well, I definitely recommend for you to look at the different workflow templates that are available and see if you could make use of some of the sales promotions given the contact data that you have, or the post-purchase. So after someone purchases from you, being able to send really targeted information to them based on that would be really helpful. For example, knowing and setting up maybe those custom filters based on purchase history and data. So definitely check out the different templates that are available. And I'm only going to show you one more thing within options for your e-commerce data that perhaps you're sending from WooCommerce, is to be able to go to email marketing. And let's say you want to create, a special offer of recommendations to your customers. And so we'll just go through this really quickly. You're going to love this. Let's call it. And what we're going to do is be able to automatically recommend products to customers that we think they would like based on their past purchase history. And so let me find one. This is a cute birthday cake, even though I'm not going to talk about birthdays, but it matches my theme. So I would be changing this, let's say, for example, so it's not happy birthday, it says something else. But what I actually want to do is be able to add, or maybe it could be a good birthday example actually. You know, it's your birthday and I want to recommend these products for you and you can get them at some discount. So what you do is move over the recommendations and you just select, again, your e-commerce store. It could be, you know, from the baked goods category, show 2 products. So what this is going to do is evaluate my e-commerce data that we have from the new Chocolate Monster store, and based on the purchase data that we have for the recipients of this message. And based on what the recipients have purchased, we have their data. We also know what people who purchased, other people who purchased what these people purchased. They purchased something else. So we automatically recommend offers to these recipients based on what they purchased and what other people have purchased as well that they have in common. And so this is a cool way to be able to do that automatically. So of course you won't be able to see what products they are because we still have to evaluate all of the data, and we'll automatically pre-fill them with the product image, you know, the name and the price, so that it can automatically offer interesting products to them, which is really cool. You can, of course, you know, update the button and, you know, the fonts and all of these so it matches your style. But this is another cool way to start using your e-commerce data that you're sending over through your Woocommerce account, using it in your GetResponse account to automatically send targeted offers to your customers that you have on your list. And so this is the, you know, very big and quick look at GetResponse for WordPress, and with a really big look into Woocommerce and the e-commerce integrations, to Woocommerce and the e-commerce integrations available within GetResponse. And so we hope this helps you get set up and start building that list and sending really, really interesting emails to your customers.